the fun. We're bringing the thunder. We are Funder. Flesh and blood down under. Whoop, whoop.
What's up, guys?
Welcome.
Mr. Foulkes,
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
ProTour champ, UK national champ.
Not anymore.
You were.
Yeah, we're just washed up now.
What did you come?
I conceded the last round, so I was like X3 or X4, and then I just scooped the last because I couldn't top 8, and I played against someone that could,
Yeah, fair.
which was a mistake because I lost 21 elo.
Yeah, I hate that shit.
Yeah.
I
won.
We talked off, but I hate people that concede for any reason.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, fair.
But-
I won the penultimate round, and I got 2.5 elo.
Yes.
And then conceded the last, lost 21 elo. If I'd won that round, I'd still be rank 1 in elo. I have been justly punished for my crimes.
You know, I'm ranked 20 in Australia on CC Elo.
That's
I've
rough.
only ever played Dory.
Okay.
I think that's fucking great.
Okay.
Look, John likes
Perspective, you know?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. John likes to throw that brag out there,
I
but
do.
when we get like the real flesh and blood players in the house, they're like, oh, that's not
What
that
does it
great,
mean,
John.
real, man? Who
Yeah.
who in Australia came higher than me at ProTour again? Nobody.
Really?
Nobody. I
Very
came
nice.
42nd.
Oh, yeah, I know. You put
Yeah.
in a good
No one did.
good shift.
And on Dory.
Nice.
Like, look, if I was playing in meta decks, I can do better. I switched to Prism for one pro quest,
Yeah.
and I went like 5-3 or something, whatever it was, and Dory 0, whatever 6 in the pro. You know what I mean? I just don't
Yeah.
switch decks. I prefer not to.
Fair.
Yeah.
I'll play anything.
Yeah, but that's if you're gonna win or you want to win, you have to switch. I believe
I think there's some people that are like,
because I'm waiting for my moment versus playing the best deck and practicing, and you know what I mean. Like, there's all these variables. One that you can control, which you should, is changing decks to suit the meta. I don't do that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do get like some benefit from being like a specialist. And really
100%.
having like hundreds and hundreds of hours into a deck as opposed to like picking up a deck for a couple of weeks and then, you know, trying to, be on the right deck, but maybe not be the most experienced pilot.
Yeah.
But then again, I also believe that like if I pick up a deck, that I can just be as good as anyone else playing the deck.
That's important. That self
You know,
belief.
it's like if I picked up Dory, I just know that I could be better than you for sure.
I
and
don't
it's like
doubt
that
it.
may or may not be true, right? But it's just I believe that, you know.
I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. But it's how you think. Like you.
That's a champion's
Well,
mindset.
you play League. You haven't invited me to your in-house game.
Well,
yet.
it's good you're on the Australian server, you know. We don't want some laggy noob bringing us down, you know. It's high octane gameplay happening
Because
here.
they like bet on it and stuff.
Oh, we go
I
deep.
very much want to play. So the reason I bring up League is a similar thing, like MOBAs in general, because there's so many heroes and archetypes and builds. All the best players, if you're going to be the best or professional at League, you can't be a one trick. Now you can have your main, and your main you're at like a godly level, but you can't just like shit gets banned, doesn't synergize with the rest of your team, doesn't synergize against the opponent. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't like you can't just go, no, I just play this hero, because sometimes you're a liability. 1-on-1 though, which is what Fab is. And where I was going with that point is you learn. So the reason you would be fine at Dory is if you've played enough matches into Dory and you know how to ask questions and pay attention to the game, not just look at your own hand the whole time. You already know how to play Dory because you've seen what Dory does. It's then just sitting on the opposite side of the table. Any good player should be very familiar with Dory.
I mean, honestly, not being a WTR boomer like you are,
I'm not.
maybe not too familiar, you know.
You're familiar enough, I mean, is like you don't need to read every Dory card if I played it against you.
Probably not. I'd hope not.
Man, at ProTour, that I made this comment. It was crazy how many people asked to read my cards. That was
Any like one in
how
particular?
are you here? Glistening Steelblade, the best card in the deck.
Yeah.
How do you not know what that does? They're like, oh, that's a new card. Can I read it? I'm like, you're at ProTour? Read it. And I already know I've won.
It's a good sign for sure.
Because I had a Twinning Blade. So if they had to read it, they don't understand. Twinning Blade into Glistening, crack Refraction, swing again. You're dead, mate. Like, I'll get 3 counters this turn. You don't know what's coming.
Yeah, that's pretty gross.
Yeah. How you feeling about Worlds? 2 days.
I don't feel like I've broken any formats, you know, and it's kind of frustrating that we're here the week before Dynasty comes out. You know, it just feels like such a missed shot, you know, like a missed opportunity. Because, man, I would love to have new cards like dropping this weekend, and it's just a frenzy for us to get the cards, just chaos, just people desperately cracking dynasty boxes to try and find what they need, and just trying to break the format with whatever new cards we got. That would be.
So you'd be all good, Matt, to actually have Dynasty drop a week before Worlds.
Oh,
you're that
100%.
confident that you could play with a new set, and you'd be up for that.
Well, it's
Because you're going to try and break it.
we're all going to be in the same boat. It's going to be crazy for everyone.
It's even.
But that's what I love. Like Nick Butcher's the same shit. He would have liked
He wants
Dynasty
the
drop
chaos.
one day before.
Oh, yeah.
The great players love that. The people that don't, I don't think have that champion mindset that really think that they have the confidence to play
Champion
heads
mindset
up.
aside, everyone's on the same footing. It'd be different if like Australia got it for a month early. Then you'd be like, wait a second,
But some
guys,
great players want time to prepare. They want to evaluate, test. But I
Yeah.
think the real high level, real champion mindset people, they're so confident in their ability. Shit, you could give them Dynasty an hour before the first round starts, and they'll work something out.
I mean, if I only had an hour, I might just reg what I've got now, and say we move on.
Yeah, I was being hyperbolic.
It could
no,
be
yeah,
also
for real, for
there's a
real.
risk. So there would be a risk if the set dropped a week before to change anything. Like you might be
I'd
better
still
off.
be willing to commit. Well, not to necessarily commit to change my deck, but like I'd be spending my time diving deep to find something, something better, because
access to more Majestics, which are usually higher power rate
Yeah.
than you know what I mean.
You're at
Commons
least
and
looking
rares
for
are
a-
coming out of the deck for some Majestics for sure.
trying
I
to find
believe.
just a few little upgrades to a
Yeah.
deck here or there. But like, I think to sort of elaborate on the point that like, I think for top players, or like the longer a format exists, the more publicly solved it becomes.
Yes.
Like we're playing kind of pseudo the same format that we played at PT1 or even Road to Nationals
There's
one.
nothing LL'd in the end, is it?
Well, no, Prism LL'd.
Sure.
And
Stavo.
we took bans to quite a lot of cards at this point. Well, let me think. We got Mask of the Pouncing Links. That one's not Mask. Stubby Hammers. That one's gone.
No, but that was already gone in
No,
Lille,
but
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was gone in Lille, but like
The
we're
Mask
still
wasn't.
playing the same card set,
Gotcha,
Like it's the
yes.
same release. It's the
Yes.
same format. They've just
Yes.
artificially changed a few things by this point,
And
Like-
Oldham got Pulse.
Oldham lost Pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like we've lost a deck and then two cards from like what would be the top two decks. So like although like things have changed, it's still the same card set. There's nothing like fundamentally
agree.
new
I agree.
to dive in and break. And although the format has evolved and changed a lot, it's not like we're looking at a crazy new format.
I have a theory, by the way, in case I don't know how much of a fan you are, like how much content you absorb, because you're a player. Usually, players don't absorb all the content.
I go through waves of like just following, like just watching a lot of stuff, and then
Yeah.
sometimes I just put Flesh and Blood down for ages and
So-
barely look at it.
Not that long ago, before Dynasty release, because there were some issues with Dynasty.
Yeah.
Basically, the printer had run out of paper. Right, that's literally what happened. Why some pre-releases didn't have stock to sell, things like that. It was very, and even now it's a little bit hard to get Dynasty because they had a big 6-week delay.
You mean
James.
Uprising?
Uprising. The last
Yeah.
set got delayed.
Yeah,
Big time. I think because I know the stock set distributors from 2 weeks ago, man. Dynasty on pallets. Like, no, it's good. You want it early so that you
Yeah,
can,
but
right?
like,
but
I
what I'm
just wish
saying
we
is,
were gaming with it,
I think they had it. So here's what I'm saying. I think they wanted to. I think Worlds was planned around.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think they went, let's just do it after because we can't guarantee every place will get the stuff. I think
and I mean,
that's
that would be a disaster, right?
that's,
That would be a disaster.
because again, if the UK didn't get it, but the rest of the world did, but you had a shipping delay for a month,
Yeah, I mean,
or even 2 weeks, or even a week, you're suddenly on the back foot. You're like, okay, I can theorize and play on Talishar, but I don't have the cards.
Yeah.
And then to get the cards and, you know what I mean?
yeah. You get here and you have to buy 30 boxes just to be able to play your deck. It's like
Yeah.
it would be a logistical nightmare,
Because
but
it feels like they could have,
yeah,
and I think they just, the time.
they would have been cutting it really tight.
I think so.
And there is a lot of people who don't necessarily have as much access to cards or resources, for who like
Yes.
it would be really rough
To buy on weaker releases,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
quite
I mean,
expensive.
it's like if suddenly you need suddenly Arachne's broken, you need 3 legendaries and a deck full of Majestics, and it's like, oh yeah, that'll be $1,200 because
Yeah.
everyone in this city needs them.
then I would
So,
be playing Worlds.
It'd
Just
be
buy them or pay to win is fine.
so it'd be different, but like it would just be so awesome to be able to dive deep into a new format at such high stakes because in a tournament like Worlds where it's so top heavy, Like you want to be willing to take a risk to try and find that thing that really does change the format. You know, you don't just want to be showing up on, you know, whatever's been out there for months. Because at this point, you know, basically any player can maybe not fully nullify, but like come pretty close to equalizing like deck building advantage, because good deck lists exist out there in enough quantity that, like, you know, you can't bring a terrible deck if you just copy someone else's list, you know. Whereas, you know, you look at like Everfest released week 1, like
people are playing jank.
people play terrible decks, and you know, because people don't really know what's good, what's bad, and people just bring awful decks. And then some guy brings Starvo, and then people are like, "Oh, we can just play Starvo." That's really
Everyone
good.
thought Starvo was crap, didn't they?
Well,
there was a window that people thought it was crap.
Yeah, I was in some servers with a bunch of Americans, and we had the Starvo deck from pre-release. I was on like the 27 Aura Prism build from the moment they spoiled the zeros. I was like, I cut them out and imported the cards into TTS myself. I was like, from the really terrible like Google pictures that we had of them, the spoilers, and then I was like, I was smashing these Starvo players. They had like a big spreadsheet with all the results, and they're like, right, listen, we're gonna have to start ignoring Matt's data, because Matt's like 27-0 into these Starvos, and like no one else seems to be having those results. So maybe we should just ignore Matt's results as an anomaly. So like we kind of were already. That was kind of what the format ended up being, was you know, Starvo and Prism was like the top two. But like,
what's been your favorite meta to date?
I think probably that one.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I could just say the PT, but we didn't. I didn't really play a lot of the meta after the PT, but probably that first ProQuest meta, because like we just got to play. I just got to play so many ProQuests. I played 7 ProQuests in that season, and it was just so fun to be able to just play so many tournaments in that. And you know, you see the same people each week, and you're all kind of working and progressing your deck lists and learning. And I played Prism that whole ProQuest season, and man, that deck's so fun. That deck's so fun. You just get to really interact with the rules in like an interesting way. And there's so many timing windows and like small edges that like might not be obvious, but when you find them, they're really rewarding to pay you with, you know? So I think that's probably my favorite meta. Like I'm actually sad to see Prism going. I don't think it was like, it has been a decent choice in a lot of metas, but in that one, I really liked it. And like, if they hadn't banned anything for PT1, I think I would have, like, if Starvo went completely untouched, I think I probably would have showed up playing Prism, which may have been a mistake. You know, maybe it was just play Starvo. That's all you can do to be correct. But I probably still would have showed up on Prism, because man, I really enjoyed playing that deck. I was playing a library in my Prism deck by the end of that format, like really committing for the Guardian matchup. And I don't know, it just felt so sweet. So sweet.
It's very hard for Starvo to get rid of library.
Yeah.
If not impossible, right?
Not completely impossible. They had a few yellows in there.
Sideboard them in, or
they just had a couple of sideboard yellows. Like,
still, they got to find 2 and discard them.
Yeah, they got the pulse, the candle hold,
but they still got to throw them in the bin.
Yeah, it's asking a lot. It's going to sit there, and they're going to try and kill you before you can get enough 5-card hands to win the game.
When it comes to Worlds or any big tournament, you sort of said like, really to get that advantage, you are looking at innovating.
Yeah.
What sort of, like, it seems to be there's a balance between innovating to, you know, break it basically, but then also, do you just bring what you know works? Like, how much are you willing to push the envelope between bringing a deck that you know is going to perform, but everyone knows the deck, they know the side up mat and all the rest of it, then trying something new that may give you that edge, may get you those extra wins, or it could fall flat on your face. Like, how close do you have to walk that tightrope in a meta that's been out for this long?
I mean, in a meta that's been out for this long, it is a bit different. Like, you know, there's not a ton of stuff out there, and I'm sure maybe by Sunday I'm here saying I was wrong. There was so much, and I just was too blind. You know, I should have gone deeper. But like for World's meta, I don't think, you know, I'm not going to have read a deck that people are going to be like, oh my god, that's completely crazy. I have a. Is this going to go up before Worlds?
No.
Okay, yeah. So
do you want it to?
I mean, I was about to say what deck I'm playing. So
no. Then more than likely next week.
Okay, I'll be playing Icelander in the
beautiful.
CC portion of Worlds, and in Blitz I'm between Kasai and Icelander in Blitz, and I'm really not locked one way or another on that one. I have to do some last minute testing over the next couple of days. That's what I need to work out. That's why I'm not coming for dinner tonight with you guys. I'm gonna go home and
Yes, you are.
No.
Mate, we'll set you up a table to test.
I got to go home and play some Blitz Icelander to see if I really do want to be playing that deck, or if I'm just going to go with old faithful Kasai.
So walk me through that. Okay, like tonight or tomorrow, you're going to play those games. What is your method, right, to understand whether you're going to go Icelander or Kasai? What outcome are you looking for in those games to weight you in one of those decisions? What particularly, how are you going to structure it? What outcomes are you looking for? Like, what's going to make you tick the box? Or are you just getting reps in?
Well, there's just a couple of holes in my knowledge that I wanted to fill, like a couple of matchups where I'm like, well, if this thing is true and, the assumptions I have are true, like, then, like, so to be specific, like, I want to play Icelander into Oldham in Blitz. We've been playing a ton of that matchup in CC, like a ton of that matchup, because I'm basically the Icelander beat stick that everyone in the house is playing a lot of Oldham, and they're all like, oh yeah, the Icelander matchup's great, so it's fine, and then I'm just beating everyone playing Icelander into Oldham, and they're like, oh, I don't know, they're like, oh, we'll try like this, try like that, try like this. They keep trying different plans, but like, I still seem to having a good amount of success with Icelander, which is why I really like that deck. But in Blitz, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit different. You can't take as long of a term approach on Icelander. You have to be more aggressive. You can't set up for the big Frost Hex, Insidious Chill end games.
There's no boots. You got to protect your life total too.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't win on one. Well, it's harder to win on one.
Yeah, you gotta play the game slightly differently. So, like, I want to check my assumptions about the Oldham Icelander matchup, because I do think Oldham's likely to be the most played deck in Blitz and also CC probably.
Probably.
It's not guaranteed. I maybe Change shows up a bit more than we expect, or maybe Fire overrepresents. But
in Blitz, yeah.
I do think that Oldham probably shows up as the most played deck in both formats, and I like my Oldham matchup in CC. But if that's true in Blitz, then I really do think that Icelander is a great choice for this weekend, because then you really don't have too many bad matchups as Icelander in Blitz. Because I think the other top decks are going to look like Chain, Kasai, Fi. These all are matchups where I think are... Well, Fi is probably not great for Icelander.
In Blitz, no.
But, like, you really don't have many bad matchups left. Rhinos are probably not great for Icelander, but, like, it's not too many Rhinos. I know there's going to be at least a few. I have some friends playing Rhino as well, but, like,
it's no joke in Blitz.
No, it's no joke.
Rhino right now is Blitz king. To my belief is it has no bad matchups.
I'm a Rhino hater. I disagree with no
Blitz?
bad matchups. I do disagree with you. I think Kasai's a bad matchup. It's pretty bad matchup actually for.
Okay, but it's bad is not like 60-40.
Yeah. You win the dice roll.
Like correct. If Rhino wins the dice roll,
gets a good turn,
has a very high chance of just having a big life advantage way early, and not many decks have that. Viz used to have that. Viz could sort of pop off and do 12 arcane.
Or just make 10 rune chances.
Yeah, but like Kasai definitely is not a turn 0 killer. Do you know? Like
no. You can have some crazy first turns though. Like
on Kasai, yeah.
Oh yeah. You can just like play a Nourishing Emptiness turn 1, and then Arsenal or Minerva, and you're just so far ahead.
Oh, that's a win con nearly. Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh god, like I've just because you put Minerva in your Arsenal on the first turn, it feels like you just dealt 8 damage.
Well, Minerva is like impending doom. It's like my weapons are 3 or 4, and if they hit, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah, it's like a pump spell every turn. I draw the best card of my deck. I made like a Kasai video like a few months ago before
I saw that,
Madrid, and I remember like I was like, I think 2 Minerva is going to be worthwhile. It's a bit of a tech choice. And now I look back on that video and I'm like, I mean, I was right, but like what I should have said is obviously put 2 Minervas in your deck. It's the best card in your deck.
Yeah,
like you're.
See, I say that and people disagree with me. I'm like,
crazy good.
If I draw 2 of them, I'm Kasai. I'll block with 1. It doesn't matter.
And people are like, oh yeah, but against Kano, it's really bad. You're just doomed against Kano anyway. It doesn't matter.
Not anymore.
I mean,
you can race Kano.
I mean, it's still
pretty bad.
If my opponent says I'm playing Kano and I'm playing Kasai, I'm not.
You're not happy.
I'm not feeling great. So like, I want to check that assumption, the Oldham Icelander matchup, and then
if that doesn't check out, will you just play Kasai?
Depends how bad it is, you know.
Okay.
And then the last one I want to check is just how bad like Icelander into Kasai is, and I still think it's pretty bad. But like if it's like it used to be like pretty unwinnable
Zero
bad,
chance, yeah. It's
Like-
not anymore.
but like now without Striders, you can sometimes just get through and get them on the back foot.
The thing
and
is,
then
like, hypothermia
sometimes-
is so fucking
It's just
strong,
horrible
man.
because even when you know they have it, it doesn't help.
You can't play around.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Not have go again?
So
Like,
I don't know if you read my tweets when
I
Icelander
try not to.
smart Icelander came out. Someone I was playing Kasai into Icelander,
Pre-Everfest.
and I win like 85% of my matches in Kasai. Like,
Yeah, nice.
fucking Icelander did something stupid, like red whatever in case, which is 3
Yeah.
frostbites passes. My turn, I pitch a blue into my courage so I can get rid of the frostbites. In response, they go created 2 more, and then I don't know what the fuck it was, but it was dealing 13 arcane, but I'd already committed 2 blues. Already committed them, but then I had a Oasis, and I had to pay 4 for my Oasis. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. I've already paid 3. I didn't know the interaction. I'm like, but I've already paid. And the guy's like, no, on the stack, they haven't popped yet. I'm like, fuck that. I concede. Went on Twitter. I go,
He had a sook. He had a big sook.
no,
about
man,
it.
like, here's what I'm trying to say. When it's not, like, Blitz is already non-interactive compared to CC.
Yeah.
That shit, if I was a new player, I would have quit the game.
I
I would have been like, wait, so I don't get to play. Like, you're just dictating from
That sounds
2
a lot
cards.
how my girlfriend reacted when she first played against Kano.
Yeah.
She really lost it. She just went crazy. She was like, "This is fucking bullshit."
No, but Kano, it's okay. Kano is 15 life, first of all.
Yep.
So I play Dory. Kano's always within killing distance. I just have to manage my greed and not pump everything and then die to him, right?
Yeah.
But I had 3 blues in hand on Kasai into a wizard, and there was still no correct choice. I think I had to pitch 15 to live.
Yeah.
No, you have to take a turn off.
But I wasn't. No,
That's
but
what
there's no
Iceland's
way
doing.
to pitch 15. That's my point.
Yeah, but that's your point.
I need a potion and 4 blues.
But that's what Icelander had to do, time walk you.
But either way, they banned Striders. So I felt validated. I'm like, that was too stupid in Blitz. Like, it was very stupid in Blitz.
It was too good, yeah.
Yeah. But all I'm saying is that interaction is non-interactive. Like Icelander's cards or how she played, and still to a point, is very non-interactive.
Yeah. And
Kano is very punished for playing that way. Like, Kano can pitch all his cards into nothing and then die.
Yeah.
That happens just as often as him getting lucky and killing you off the top. Like, it's sort of 50-50, I feel.
yeah.
But
I don't know. I want to check just how bad the Kasai matchup is, and if it's not that, but if it's like really disastrous, like really unwinnable, then because I really don't mind any other matchup as Kasai. I really like my Oldham matchup. Really, really like it.
I was about to ask, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I really like my Kasai into Oldham matchup.
Because it's surprisingly fair because your boots always stop the hammer.
Yeah, the hammer's
Yeah.
just free for you to deal with.
Yeah. And you don't mind blocking with a card on
Oh
Kasai.
yeah, if you're taking that like swing 2, block 2, swing 2, block 2 approach to the matchup, like you just grind them out. You
There's
just
so
you
much
just
value,
farm them,
yeah.
and then like it used to be before when all the Oldhams were playing fatigue. Like that's what everyone said. Oh, you just get fatigued as Kasai. Oh, you always get fatigued. There's nothing you can do. And like I'd worked on the matchup, and I was a lot more experienced with Kasai than most people. But fatigue is often a skill check for the person who's getting fatigued. And it's not necessarily easy to beat fatigue, but you have to understand because the fatigue player's kind of doing the exact same thing every single game, mostly. And you have to understand how to get yourself into endgame states where you can break that, you know? And so it's about developing and understanding every like edge you can find as Kasai. And before, when they had Crown of Seeds, like you really did have to understand every little bit, you know?
Yep.
And I even teched my deck to include Biting Blade, and I'd play Gallantry Gold, and just everything to set up to beat fatigue, right? But then they take away Crown of Seeds, and the fatigue plan from Oldham is much, much worse now because it used to be that they could go Crown, Shield, and then that would cover the first 2, and then you'd play a Blade Runner or you play a Pump Spell, and then they'd either play a Defense Reaction or Earth React, and they'd still have they could keep
And you're just not making
they could
copper.
keep their stuff floating without using cards from their deck, without having to block with any attacks or use any cards, right? And then they could they could defend without actually using cards, right? But now they actually have to just block with cards, and they have to commit their D-React first. They can't have this floating shield that just stays there and doesn't go away. And so I found now that when they try and fatigue you, you actually fatigue them. Like,
I have heard this,
Yeah, as long as you're willing to be patient and you don't just blow your load every single time, you just keep it chill. Just attack for another 2. And
in a broad sense, yeah. What's the game plan? Like you're building 6 coppers, but not necessarily straight away popping off. Or
well, there's a lot of nuance, because when you flip your first Minerva, they should actually let the Minerva hit. They should just try and let the Minerva hit for like 1-3 times, basically.
Yeah.
And then it can be awkward because
that's your best value is letting
Because if the Minerva sits there the whole game and they just try and stop Minerva from proccing,
they will fatigue.
They will fatigue because they just don't have that much block in their deck, and they have to just keep like giving you everything, and you'll just slowly take away all their armor, and then they'll just be left at the end of the game with nothing. So they need to let Minerva get off the board quickly, and then it's contextual, but you often don't proc the Minerva. You can fail to find. You don't have to put a Blood in Her Hands in your arsenal when Minerva procs. Yeah.
How do you fail to find it?
You look in your deck and you go, oh, I don't have one. I'll just.
Can you do that?
Yeah,
it's a May, isn't it?
No, I don't know if it says May, but you can always fail to find to search. Like it's not like you're not obliged to show them your deck and be like, I don't have one. You could just fail to find. Like shuffle your deck. And
I'm curious about the ruling because if that's true, that does change. Because the forced having to go get it and fill your arsenal is not the right play.
Yeah. So like until you actually get
I've
to
got
6
3
copper,
coppers, and what I want is actually the arsenal what I have in hand.
That'll make sense. Like Beacon of Victory, just say Beacon for 1, but you don't have to find anything.
Yeah.
You can just go through your deck and go, yep, I haven't found what I'm looking for. Here you go.
Yeah, and then you don't have to proc off the first Minerva, and you just try and play patient and wait to set up right at the end game a turn where if you have Gallantry Gold, and I'm not 100% certain whether I want to go Gallantry or Braveforge, because Braveforge is more of a hedge for the aggressive Oldhim. You just have 2 more armor, and Braveforge is really good. It's like if they're being aggressive, you would rather have Braveforge. I don't know for certain whether you need Gallantry Gold anymore, because I think because the fatigue matchup is so good, you might just be able to cut the Gallantry and just play the Braveforge as.
I mean, in Blitz you take both, right?
Yeah, you have both.
It doesn't take up a slot.
But like, if you're going in blind, you don't know whether they're going to fatigue you. Maybe Braveforge is better to run because it's just better into the aggressive version. And then once you've broken through that, like you've got that first Minerva, and they've let it proc, and you've built up some copper, and you want to try to get more than just 3 copper if you can get a spoils through or.
High Striker, I know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, High Striker. Yeah, we're yet to be convinced of that one, John. We'll see. Or Outland Skirmish to get up to 4 copper. Like then
that's you try and get to 4 before you.
Well, you want to just have a good. You want to be as patient as you can, and then you just keep being patient. Just keep slowly working through the game. You don't have to always play your pump spell when they haven't blocked yet, because they get like if you're only attacking for 3 or 2, like often they just have to block for 7 because they have a bunch of D-reacts if they're trying to fatigue you. And then you're like, okay, cool, you use 7 block from your deck for my attack for 4.
Yeah.
I won't
Beautiful.
play my pump spell. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just got to keep being patient. Just keep being patient. And then you attack, you have go again. Your deck actually just has so many go agains, even amongst the blues now.
Yes.
Like, because there's so many blue go again sources.
Do you use Blade Flash?
Not playing Blade Flash. Okay. Not playing Blade Flash.
It's a terrible card.
They did just spoil a new one that looks quite good. The blue one with piercing 1. I don't know if have you seen that one? Yeah, it's just 1 go again. It gains piercing, which I think is probably better than blue driving blade.
Yeah.
Just because it's more flexible.
Yeah.
It's more flexible.
Oh, dude, the warrior support is not huge, but they're very playable.
Yeah,
like they're all going into decks. Like,
that looks like some solid stuff.
And Brute looks the same. Like nothing's game breaking.
the Brute discard one.
Yeah.
The
yellow.
Skullcrack.
Oh, the gainer
resource.
Yeah, Yazzie.
That one looks good.
It's a free resource.
Yeah, it does something, and Brute doesn't often.
And it actually makes Rock work.
Yeah, it looks really nice with
You can
Rock.
float 2 easily, and then there's your 3rd.
Yeah.
Is there anything particular with the Dynasty spoils that stands out? Like, have you spent much time? Is there something that you see? Oh, yeah, this could break. This could break.
To answer that a second way, or the same answer is there something you'd put in your deck if you could? In your Worlds deck.
We haven't seen a lot of Wizard stuff.
No. Not anything good.
I'd play if I'm playing Kasai, I'd play that 1 mana go again. But
would you try out a new hero? Is there something
I'd be going deep on Arachne.
Oh, really?
I'd be willing to, yeah.
Mill or no? Is that a trap?
It's so good.
We'll see. Well, I don't know how deep we're going to be able to mill people out.
That one card that says X damage is how many you banish.
Yeah,
So if you double Razor Reflex that thing, the game's over. Not over, but 9 cards. You technically get rid of 9 cards. That's the ceiling on that. Off a blue. Blue to double Razor Reflex in that
we
card.
need to see like all of the card pool, because it still feels like Assassin's currently going to have a little bit of a problem having enough go again, because you've got all these 0-for-4s and they have the boots, right, and the boots look really good, but like
but 2 copper is not free. 2 silver, sorry, it's not that easy.
No,
to make
it's not. But like if they can find another way just to have a little bit more go again consistently.
So other than Razor, what's the options? Like lead the charges and stuff, right?
Yeah,
which is not great. Or you're setting up time snaps potentially, right?
Yeah, but I'm hoping that there's another part of their kit. We don't know. Do we know what the arms are for this?
Is there assassin arms yet?
I haven't seen any.
Yeah. Look, they'll be. Looks like there's a lot of rare equipment which we haven't seen.
Yeah.
So there's potentially.
Like we haven't seen everything, and I'm hoping that there's a little bit more way to be fluid and use all your cards, and maybe it's a bit of a block 2 cards 4-4. That's like a play pattern that's like if you're going 4-4, at this point everyone knows how good a 4-for-0 is. We've all learned that now.
But these are very punishing on hits with the 4
they're good.
You know what I mean? It's not a Ravenous.
I mean, Briar used to have some pretty punishing on hits. Not so punishing anymore, but it used to be crazy. We've seen what lots of 4-for-0s with punishing on hits can do.
Because I think people are missing. There's milling, sure, but there's people talking that have been testing on Talishar. It's people are conceding because you banish the top, and it turns out to be their blood in the hands or something, and it's their second one, and they know they can't win. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be times where you hit a Bolton, they banish Illumina, and they've already blocked with 1, and the whole deck has 1 left. And they might just not have a win con anymore. If you
there'll be stuff like that.
There's reducing their deck size, but there's also getting rid of your power cards.
I think
on chance, but there's always like
I think mostly it's gonna be about how powerful and how consistently it can put out damage and pump out numbers. I think the mill thing is gonna be a
secondary
win con.
Well, you basically shouldn't be able to fatigue Arachne. Is that how it works? Because if you're doing a fatigue plan into an Arachne, they seem very efficient. Like they're not playing 4 cards a turn.
Yeah.
Like they're pitching a lot, which means you'll lose cards too, is what I'm saying. They can still force you to lose cards.
Yeah. And when they do get through, they're slowly ripping resources from your deck as well. And
I'm excited to see. It's hard without the cards being printed. In the whole
but it does look at least like it has some potential. If it can get a little bit more of a way to reliably have go again, then like it certainly has. And maybe the fact that they just 4-for-0s makes it so awkward. That it actually just looks playable and strong anyway.
Have you tried yet, or
No. I'm not looking past Worlds. We've been like, oh cool, there's a new look at this. But
check it out in a week. It's fine.
Yeah, and I will be checking it out the minute Worlds ends because. I'm going to the Battle Hardened in Philly the week after Worlds.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm staying.
And it's legal then.
They're legal. They're legal. First tournament they're going to be legal for.
So this is why I think. So at the banquet on Thursday night, there's a case of Dynasty being opened live.
Oh
damn! Fabled Hunters, Saint, and Chris from Unsealed. I have a feeling you will be able to buy product as a pre-release at Worlds. That's not confirmed, but we're a week away, and the pre-releases for Uprising were like 3 weeks before, 4 weeks before, weren't they? They were long, you know what I mean? I have a feeling we're going to get to Worlds and the vendors are going to have Dynasty.
I mean, for me, I'm not...
Because if there's an event in a week, you're going to want to crack some... You're going to want to get singles.
I'm surprised that, if there's no Dynasty, like... events, not events, but like
I like a chaos draft.
It's like the week before. It's the week before they release it. And it's the World Championship. I would be surprised if they haven't done something.
I have a feeling it's coming. I don't think they want to blow out the announcement because the focus is Worlds. But I think on Thursday night or Friday morning
there'll be some.
I have a feeling. Yeah, I mean, why can they open a case if there's not like, or what? Why not like give out packs as ticket pricing? You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Like they've got the product.
Yeah,
get it out there. It makes it way cooler, right? If you just drop your prize tickets on Uprising packs, it's a bit sad.
The first time I met you, you were hunting for Nulrune.
Yeah.
The second time I saw you, you were fucking. What are you after? Yellow snatches.
Yeah.
What are you missing for Worlds?
Yeah. So there's a bit. I guess it's. I'm pretty notoriously underprepared. I'm a serial card borrower. Because I just don't have a big collection. And I always try and make sure that if I do borrow cards of people, I'm returning the favor either in deck lists and information or in booster packs, or some kind of way. I think I've got everything. Actually, no, not true. I'm still missing a few cards. I need to.
I'm serious. What are you missing?
Some snatches.
Okay.
They're in my Islander deck.
Can I give you a suggestion? Because you just won a Pro Tour and you should have some money in the bank.
A little bit. It's going down.
Hemel Patel, who's going to be... He works with Magnolia Gaming, which will be here.
Oh, yeah, I know those guys.
So Hemel... I have a huge collection because I open so much, but then I get rid of most of it because I live in an apartment. I can't just have 10,000 cards in the apartment. I contacted them. I said, how much would you charge me for a playset a whole game? Minus legendaries. I just want 3 of every card in the game. It didn't cost as much as I thought. It was like $2,000.
I mean, that isn't as much as I thought.
Sorted in sleeves sent to you. Sorting was the big thing. He sent me a box with every card in the game. Sorted.
Yeah,
do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, that is. And then once they're all pre-sorted, I guess it's not too much.
Then you just have to remember to put them back.
Yeah.
And now there's cards you should have 6s of, depending on what decks you like to play. But just having the set of 3 of every card in the game means you technically can build one of any deck in the game. And then you got to find maybe a couple of legendaries or borrow them.
Yeah. You
should think of investing in that.
Yeah, I probably should. In a way, I kind of like the scramble, though, Like, I just love a bit of chaos, where you're like
my issue
running around, the tournament's about to start, they're doing the player announcement, and I'm like, fucking
snatches, yellow snatches.
Yeah, like, oh God, have you got I'm trying to think. I've definitely had some crazy ones where I just you're like sit down for the player meeting, you're like, well, I didn't find these, and you just cross them off your deck list, You're like, that's how it goes sometimes.
How do people like you win a Pro Tour?
I don't know,
But you're so focused on your one job of winning that everything else is just.
I just struggle a lot with ADHD.
Look, the other thing,
story behind
which
it,
I came up with the idea for Arsenal Pass actually, but nothing ever happened with it. Realistically, a player of your level should have a sponsor single store that you can ring up and go, I need these cards or this deck, and they just get them for you. Well, like borrow off like if you knew there's a person. When I say sponsor, it doesn't have to be monetary. Like they can just be. They give you sleeves to play with that say Magnolia Gaming or whatever, and that's what you play. But then anytime you need a card at any event, they get them to you a week before. And you just return them when you're done.
Well, I've had offers to join like a few teams or like work with some teams or organizations or stuff. And I've always been pretty hesitant because like I don't know, I don't want to just be I hate like people rocking up in team jerseys, Like everyone gets their own team jersey, and
it's not your style.
It's not my style. I'm just chilling. I just show up to the tournament. I play my games.
Wearing a nice pink collared
shirt,
and
then you come. It comes with a lot of obligations and
yes.
and like
you have a boss.
Yeah,
I try and explain that to people. Sometimes having a sponsor means a boss. Like you have to post a video. You have to say something.
Yeah, and I'm really bad with obligations. There's a reason I've been unemployed for the last 7 years. Like I just try and play my games, just that's it. And like, I do have like a lot of good friends that do have collections.
Good.
And like to an extent that is the same thing almost. Like one of my friends runs a store, and I'm always happy to. I'll always give him my deck list. If he wants it, you got it. Because at the same time, he's always like, if I need cards, he's got me. And to be fair, like most of the time, it's my fault that I'm scrambling. Like people would have lent me the cards if it wasn't like
the banquet the night before.
Yeah, it's like, hey bro, you got any of this really obscure card to put in my deck? Yeah. So the story from PT2 was they only let us into the banquet at the end.
Yeah.
It was super annoying. They made everyone register. They sent out an email like the week before, and if you didn't register, then you couldn't get in. And I was like, sure. I show up with my girlfriend on Friday night. She's really excited to go to this thing. It was like all exciting. They got like all the Pro Tour and James White and everything laid out and loads of food. And they're like, oh no, you can't come in. You didn't sign up. I'm like, I'm registered for the Pro Tour. Why
so they didn't let the winner in the building.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, it wasn't the thing. It wasn't just us. It was like,
it
was like Tarek Patel, his girlfriend, and like loads of people. And I was like, okay, there was a mess up. Just let us in. There's like 50 of us. It's clearly it's not on us if it happened to 50 people that want to come.
There's miscommunication.
Yeah,
Yes.
like, and if the food is a little short because there was a mess up with the reg, that's a smaller problem than like.
By the way, they weren't short on food.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know, because we went in and absolutely raided the dessert tables.
Yeah.
We hit hard. I had like 10 desserts because I was like, I got to get my money's
But
worth.
there was
here.
heaps of food.
Yeah. And like, it just was
I
like,
think that's partially maybe like LSS could have easily gone, here's the players registered. Like at least the Pro Tour players.
Yeah.
Like I understand if you're not putting every person that bought a ticket, but come on, Pro Tour player list should go straight to the banquet. People go, we
Yeah,
have at
it
least,
was-
I know.
So
was-
you're not officially in a team now? That's what you're saying?
I'm not really officially in a team. I just play with a lot of people. I try not to have like a really like closed group. Like I'll talk to a lot of people and like I don't play it super secretive. Like some people are like they just lock all the information down. You know, they won't speak to anyone about it. Like I know that Team Dragon Shield were desperately trying to keep all their information closed before, but it was also really funny because when we were stood outside the banquet, unable to get in, I'm just stood there and Tariq Patel, Nick Butcher, and Matt Roger are all stealthily like talking about their cards. And they're like, yeah, I managed to get 3. And I just hear them talking about buying Dash cards. And they're like, oh yeah, I could only buy foil ones. And I was like, oh cool, they're all playing Dash.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was it.
And it's like and Tariq, like I'd spoken to Tariq before the event, and he'd been like really secretive and been like, oh, like, you know, we were talking about some stuff, but then, you know, when it got a bit closer to the event, he'd been like, can't really talk about stuff anymore. You know, fair enough, trying to keep it all secret. And then just like night before that, I was like, oh, they're all just playing Dash. Cool.
But do you think there is much of an advantage keeping that stuff secret? Whether you know 3 people in the whole tournament are on a deck or not, do you think that makes a difference to someone like you? Like, does that actually change anything for you? Does it?
PT1, did it change?
Yeah.
anything?
So
Explain that to me.
okay, so there are certainly examples where it can have a big impact. And I guess the big one would be, as you said, PT1. I was on a you know, quote unquote team for that event. I tested with Arsenal Pass, Sasha Markovic, Michael Hamilton, and Roger Bodie as well, and Dan McKay over in New Zealand.
Yes.
Yeah, he's in New Zealand.
Dr. Dan.
Is he an Australian in New Zealand, or is
No,
he?
I
No, that's
think
Sasha.
I think he's Sasha's Australian that moved to New Zealand.
Okay,
I think
yeah,
he's-
yeah,
And,
that's-
and Dan is New
And
Zealand.
then Hayden is a New Zealander who moved to
Lives
Australia.
in Australia.
Yeah, okay, so there's some.
They're like sister countries.
Okay.
Yeah, it's closer than Canada, US.
Oh yeah,
Sure,
yeah, okay. So like, for that tournament, yeah, we all put in a ton of time testing together, and I tested like we would test on an American time zone. So basically, every night I would show up at 1 a.m. and then test until like 3 or 4 in the morning. For like a couple of months, you know, I'd show up every night, and about a week out, Brendan and Sasha got together. And they were testing, and me and Michael were then, because those guys were together, me and Michael were doing a lot of our testing against each other, and Roger as well. And shout out to both Michael and Roger, because like Roger Bodie wasn't able to play PT1. He was having a kid that weekend, and like even though he wasn't showing up to the event, he showed up every night to test with us, and would just be the target dummy. Like, what do you need me to play?
Yep.
And like, I'd never met the guy, and he still put in so much time and effort to help us. And like, so testing with Michael and Roger was an absolute pleasure. Those are 2 people that I hold in the absolute highest regard when it comes to flesh and blood, both as people and when it comes to how good they are at the game. But so I rock up on the morning of PT1, and I speak to Hayden. I'm like, oh, so you guys locked in chain, right? Because when I'd spoken to them at the banquet before, they were like, with, you know, between you know, chain and maybe something else, you know, maybe Dash or Starvo. They're just, you know, just saying words. And then I speak to him in the morning. He's like, oh yeah, we're playing Kano. I'm like, you what? You're playing Kano? It's a bit weird. They're like, oh yeah, we didn't really like the chain list. We just audibled last night. I'm like, oh, you just audibled last night? Okay, I guess. And then I'm thinking like, well, if these 2 guys are playing Kano, like all 3 of my teammates are playing Kano, there must be like a bunch of New Zealand or Australians that I haven't been included in the conversation that must be playing Kano. So I'm like, I need to go find some Null Rune. And I ended up not playing any extra Null Rune because I was like, whatever. I like my deck list. The sideboarding plan works. I've done all the numbers. And I also got only 15 minutes to find something. I couldn't be bothered. It was whatever. I just run my deck. It'll be fine. But then like, the longer I sat on it and thought about it, I was like, hold on. Like, this doesn't feel good. This doesn't feel
To
right.
clarify, did you ever test into Kano?
We did. So before the bans for PT1 had come out, like when people were thinking they might just hit Starvo and Starvo alone,
Yes.
and then we'd be in like a big Viserai format, because we'd laid out what we thought were all our possible changes that they could make. And then it started testing early for like the various potential formats that we thought, just tried to get a pretty holistic view of the format. But in this theoretical Viserai format where Viserai was king, right? Then we thought that there was a really, really like narrow angle. Like if Viserai is just absolute king, to play Kano, because you could play this combo Kano deck that they played, right? And so we did practice it, and we did play that deck. And so I knew how the deck worked and what it did. But like when the bans had come out, we'd pretty much benched the deck and not really talked about it since. And so when they show up on the day and say, "Oh, we're playing Kano," I'm like, that's really weird. So it sits with me for a little while, and then I'm like, people kept asking me, because I wasn't really fussed at first. I was like, that's just weird, But like then people kept being like, "Are you not like upset that they just didn't tell you that they were playing Kano?" I was like, yeah, I guess I would have liked if they'd told me last night and didn't find out on the morning of. But like, and then the more I thought about it, I was like, yeah, actually, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. I do feel kind of like they just farmed me for my time. And then
the other team members didn't know either.
So no, Roger and Michael, who had put in tons of time, and we had we'd built a really, really good chain list, Like we were basically 3 cards off of Pablo Pintor's list that won the PT. We had like the Belittles, the Tomes, like we had a really, really, really good deck list. And it was like, if they hadn't played Kano and they'd ended up plus playing Chain, like, because what actually, when they talk about it, they talk about, their genius breakout deck of the tournament, right? They talk about how they moved onto the deck about a week before. They didn't audible to it the night before, like they told me on the day, right? That was just another lie. They would have just got to play mine and Michael's chain list, which we put loads of time and effort into. So they would have just taken our time and resources, and Rogers, by the way, who put his time into preparing for the tournament, even when he wasn't playing.
Nothing in it for him, yeah.
Like they just basically took all of our time for free because they were like, it's fine. And like when I'd asked Brendan Patrick about it after I kept like politely asking, can we talk about what happened at PT1? I want to discuss our testing process, right? Because we hadn't like technically fallen out by this point, and like, I'm just like, and they just kept blanking me. I was like, I just like to do a sort of a debrief, mostly because I just wanted to be like, guys, what happened? Like, what the hell? And they just kept dodging me. And then I really was like, actually, no, this isn't okay. When I looked at the Kano channel in our testing Discord, right? They just deleted all the information.
What? Leading up to the event?
Yeah.
So you couldn't go back and see the list or...
Yeah. Like, so it changed from being like we just didn't tell them to we actively hid information from our own teammates to gain an edge. And I'm like, okay, now I'm pissed.
Yep.
Now it changed. That, for me, that was where the line was like, okay, now it's something different. And I'm like, I don't feel happy with how they acted anymore. And I don't feel like it wasn't just a passive thing where they kind of just didn't tell us.
You're saying the list was never on the list. Like that deck was not on the list that you would, like you had the list. Sorry, you had a Kano deck built as a team. You knew about it.
Yeah.
But it was not on the possible choices anyone was going to play.
Not in the...
Because I'm assuming your sideboard would have looked different if you knew 3 people were going to be on Kano. Or possibly.
I mean, I might have included an extra null rune, but I even remember like Hayden even gave me a bit of attitude when I said I might go find an extra piece of null rune. He was like, really? You change your sideboard to be good against your teammates? And like, I was like, yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe it is a bit scumbag. Is it? Like he said that on the and I was like, yeah, maybe he's right. Maybe I am being a bit scumbag by changing my sideboard to do it for my teammates. But now I think about it, I'm like, what the hell? What the hell? And it's like water under the bridge at this point. And it's like, it's old news. But like, I don't know. That was like...
That is funny. Like not coming from this background, right? The most competitive background I had was I used to be the Oceanic admin for Rainbow Six Siege.
Sure.
Right? The cheating is very fucking on the nose in that game. Like when it's cheating, like there's no...
just hacking?
Yeah, like there's no... I guess you could find a glitch, but it's still considered cheating.
Yeah.
You just get outright banned. But there's not much of this like secret sauce
Yeah.
Like card games have like secrets, while
Yeah.
shooting games are more like you aim for the head. Who can aim for the head better?
Yeah.
Like that's the real. Maybe Rainbow Six Siege has some nuances.
Yeah,
but
there's less, but it's less of an information edge.
yeah, like teams aren't hiding info. They skirmish. Maybe they won't show you their exact plan, but they're not lying.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows everyone's pretending, and their real source is going to happen
Yeah,
during the tournament.
there's, like,
but in
development.
card games, like if you're in a closed team, that's malicious.
Yeah.
Because it's time. Your beef or your issue isn't with them changing decks last minute.
No, that's fine.
It's the amount of time you spent wasting time.
Yeah, it's that they
Which you could
basically
have
just
spent
got all the
testing
value
into
of my
Kano
time.
or not making a chain list which you were never going to play.
But they also got access to, and it's like,
But they knew exactly what you were playing.
yeah.
That's where I
Even
like
the
if
night before, I was like, oh, I can go through all the sideboard with you, and like, because they weren't really like, they didn't seem too like confident on where they were with chain, and I was like, oh no, I really like our list. I think we've got it really nailed. I can go through all like the changes we've made and what we've discussed and like the sideboarding and stuff. They were like, oh yeah, maybe I'll get back to you on that later, and like, it's
So
just
in hindsight, you knew something was up.
I didn't really. No, I don't think I did. And even when like I first found out there were Kano, I didn't
he
really.
seems very focused on him. Like you're not even remembering to get the cards till the day before.
Well,
You're
I was just like, because they didn't seem like too confident and locked, and I just wanted to make sure that they felt good, because like, they were my teammates. I wanted everyone to do good, right? And then it was like it kind of, I didn't, and when it even happened, like I said, I didn't even realize that I'd kind of been played, and then like it was only after like everything happened, and I like eventually I got to speak to them about it, and like they weren't even really sorry. They were like, oh yeah, we just thought, that if you knew and other people knew, it could like get out, and then like if people found out that we were playing Kano, it would really reduce our edge, and the line that killed me, that absolutely killed me, is like they were like, oh yeah, we just didn't think it would be game theory optimal to tell you. That was actually what they said, and I'm just like, oh wow, okay.
When you say they said it in unison.
I mean, I don't want to like.
Sorry, I'm trying to picture.
I don't want to pin it on a specific person, but like, because they're all, it's all of their actions. It wasn't like there's one bad guy here.
Here's the thing, and maybe we should all chime in on this one, because I'm legit confused.
Yep.
I'm in a couple of testing, like Facebook groups.
Sure.
I don't test with anyone because it's a 1v1 game. So if I want to test, I'd rather test in my head and at armories. I know people may not call that testing, but well, here's what I'm trying to say. Why have a team of 6 if you're all vying for the same prize? Like like if you're a boxer and it's a 1v1 sport, your sparring partners aren't the person you're fighting. Ever.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? Like
Sure.
So what's this? Why test if you're all going to the tournament? Doesn't it make more sense that you test with people that don't have a horse in the race?
Well,
Or is it always going to be the same people? That's why.
There's the thing is about like, and it's especially true for like newer formats, and for PT2. After that I was kind of soured for like being in a closed group. Because I was just like, that kind of feels, I had a bad experience with it, right? But like, so for PT2, I kind of just did my own thing. I played basically on Talishar on my own. And
You did very fucking well, by the way.
Yeah, it was all right. But like, if you test on your own, you can't actually do everything on your own. And there's just no way you can, because there's so many matchups and so many decks and so many things that you just have to just accept what like the group think is on everything. And that's actually one of the things in Flesh and Blood that I think I've been good at, is not just accepting what the group think is about things. Like people just believe something to be true, like because they heard it on a podcast or something, and then the whole community just believes it, and it just like kind of is considered true. And then when you actually test some of the assumptions that people have, you're like, oh, it's not true. People just accepted that this was true at some point, and then.
Since we've talked about Arsenal Pass, love you, Hayden, and I'll pass you in a sec. But all I wanted to say was, I remember listening to a Arsenal Pass guide, or them saying like, this is the way to do something. I'm like, wait, that doesn't sound right. But then I'm like, wait, is that them big brain saying that so that the masses do that? Because they're not doing it. Like, why would they, as competitive players, give the best source on the open podcast?
For sure.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
They
I immediately
definitely-
got that. I don't, by the way, you don't need to give you like you got to be a YouTuber, content creator, entertainer separate to a pro player. Like you can't just
I agree.
put your deck out.
They
there,
need
right?
to like you there is a line to walk. But like I remember it was before UK Nationals, right? Like the week before UK Nationals last year, someone played. It was like a bit of a disaster. Someone like me and Tarek had been working on this deck, this Cheerios Briar deck, like and trying to keep it really close to our chest. And like I'd still needed to get in tons of games against people because like my Nationals was coming up first, and Tarek wasn't even planning on playing his Nationals, right? And we were trying to keep it secret. And there's more shindiggery here. I love that the testing skullduggery occurs.
That's where the drama is.
Yeah, and so like we were trying to keep this list pretty close to our chest, but like I needed to get games in against people. So like I try and get people to swear to secrecy before we play. I'd be like, listen, I'm happy if you play this in your Nationals in a couple of weeks' time, right? But we're trying to keep it secret, like because like as soon as you play that Briar deck with someone, you just smash them, and people found answers to how to beat that Briar deck later on, but like. For the uninitiated, for the unprepared, you just got rolled. Like it would be really awkward because if I tried to play games with like random people, you just murder them like 3 games in a row, and then they'd be like, "Oh, any chance I could get that lit?" And you just you delete the game and delete your deck and just like disappear off into the night, because it was just like it didn't take long for people to like. I remember like the classic was like you play against someone and they'd be like, "Oh man, you did 16 damage without pitching a card. That's really lucky a hand." And then you just do it 5 times in a row again. And they'd be like, hold on, something's happening here, But so like the list got passed to someone that played it and then top forward a battle hardened, I think it was, or they were called something else back then. I don't remember. Maybe they were called ProQuests or
Yeah, there was
yeah. They got I think Brendan Patrick also top forward playing like an Earth Briar deck. And I remember that week on the Arsenal Pass podcast, I'm driving up to my Nationals listening to this podcast where I'm planning to play this Briar deck, right? And I'm just like I'm waiting for them to talk about this Briar deck, right? Because at some point they're going to talk about him making the top 4, and I'm like, please don't tell everyone my Briar deck's absolutely absurd. Like, please. And like they brushed over it and they were like, oh yeah, looked like they had some interesting cards, and then they go on to talk about his deck, and I'm like, thank God they don't just be like this.
That's because they were probably still planning to play it, right?
Well, I don't know how much they knew at that point, but like because they aren't all knowing, all seeing, all
No.
they're humans, and like I might have, maybe I'm faulting them here, but like today, but like they're still reasonable guys, and
I'm very good players
and really solid players, but they don't know everything. Everyone has blind spots. Like I said, you need.
Yes.
There's so much information to digest and process that like,
which is why teams make sense.
Yeah, that's why you need people whose opinion you can be like, I just have to follow this guy's opinion because there's no way I can test everything. If my friend that plays if you who play loads of Dory be like, oh no, the Dory Oldham matchup is just rough. There's nothing you can do about it. This is why I know that. I kind of just have to say, okay, cool. You're going to have more information than me, and I need to accept that. And that saves me so much time and energy.
In finding it out.
Yeah.
I think to touch on to, like you say, teams. Why teams?
Do a team. Come on.
A big team.
Team!
A big reason, right, comes from Magic. Okay, I was around when these big, they called them super teams, Channel Fireball, Pantheon, and these huge teams. Now, that wasn't just all about sharing information. The way Magic was structured when it came to taking care of your teammates. See, you said, why would you want to do this in a
Conceding
one-on-one
up
game?
and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. Why would you want to do this in a one-on-one sport? Why would you want to go into a big tournament with 20 of your teammates when you can possibly compete against each other? These teams took care of each other, John. Okay, they scooped to each
that
other.
happens still in Fab. They're just not as big.
You can't do it in Fab as much because there's no IDing.
Yeah.
There's no intentional drawing. You can to a certain extent, but not like Magic. Magic, you could really manipulate things. And these big teams did. They did. Okay, that's what it was all about, first and foremost. So that's where a lot of the history comes from. And I think the way how James White has, there's no IDs in Fab. I think if you could get points from a draw in Fab,
You'd see more draws.
God, we'd see big super teams.
There's
Is that, come on, Matt?
Yeah,
that's kind of true.
No, there's pluses and minuses to there being
Well,
draws.
now the draws are like worse than a loss, right?
Because draws just feel fucking terrible in
But
Fab.
then people
use
them as punishments. There's
I fucking hate drawing in Flesh and Blood. Oh my God. I drew myself out of the Battle Hardened last weekend, and I took a draw in UK Nationals as well. And it's like when you take a draw in a game that like given like one more turn cycle you would have won, it just feels so disastrously terrible. It's just so abhorrent because you're like, oh my God. And especially when draws give elo, because it's like, when I have, I just have really high elo, right? If someone draws against me, they get more elo than I would get for winning. You know, like they farm me for like 15 elo. Like if we draw.
What's weird to me is, so you're playing, let's say Oldham into Viz.
Yep.
The Viz is on 1 life, Oldham's on 14.
Yeah.
And the Viz has 4 cards left.
Yep.
And then the time runs out.
Yeah.
And then they do a draw.
I mean,
You're like, there is no world where the Viz wins.
Yeah.
So why are we drawing? Like, why isn't there a judge checking game state and going?
I mean, they can't just assign a win, right? But
if that's the case, like, look, first of all, there's this whole thing, and I'm guilty of it. I've never done it, but I hate playing into Oldham. So if you're like fatiguing me and we're getting close to time, I'm very tempted to just let it draw because I feel like I fucking hate your deck, right? But you're clearly winning. That's the only reason I want to punish you for it. Like, what's even the solution there? You're supposed to call time on people early, like.
This like slow play is such a really. People act like it's binary and that like, oh, if your opponent's playing slow, just call a judge. But like, judging in slow play is actually so impossibly difficult to judge because judges have so much going on. You know, they got calls all around. They can't just sit there and watch. And you know, if there is a judge watching you for slow play, your opponent's just gonna play a bit quicker. And even if they're doing it on purpose or not, like. The judge can't sit around for
the whole
time just to make sure that your Oldham mirror is played quickly. And there's a lot of matchups in Flesh and Blood where what would be considered by a judge a reasonable pace of play
is slow.
Is not fast enough for you to finish the matchup. You know, if you're taking a minute to think about and play out your turn, each turn cycle, like, and you're playing an Oldham mirror, that's not it. Like, we're not getting it done here, you know? Like, we need to be slamming, you know? We need to just boom, boom, boom. We need to both be playing, like, almost unreasonably quickly to get the job done. Like you could play at a pace that a judge could never give you a slow play warning for, and it still wouldn't be quick enough to finish the game. And, you know, you could argue that's a problem with, how some decks or how the format or the game is made. But, like, it's kind of just a situation where, like, draws are somewhat inevitable, and especially in this format, there's, like, quite a few matchups that can come to draws, like, relatively often. Like, in the top 4 of the Battle Harden this weekend, there was the 2 semi-finals were an Oldham mirror and Oldham versus Dromai. And I was sat watching these games with Isaac Crope, and we were taking bets on how long the games would take to finish, right? And it was like 35 minutes in, right? And we were like, I reckon we got 17 more minutes in this Dromai versus Oldham matchup. I reckon the other Oldham mirror will finish first. They both went 80 minutes.
Yeah, I heard there was a 2-hour-long game.
I don't know about a 2-hour-long game.
I don't know if it was the Battle Hardened or some other.
It might have been in Columbus that happened, I think. But like, there was almost a horror story. There was really almost a horror story. There's the Oldham mirror and the Dromai. They both took about 80 minutes to finish, right? And the Dromai got fatigued, and then it's an Oldham mirror that came right to the end, like 4 cards. But I realized something horrific at some point, right? Because there's these 2 Oldham decks that are playing. They're both playing Winter's Whale, which was a bit of a strange choice, I thought. I prefer Sledge in the matchup, but, like, you know, it was, I don't know the names of the players, but I think they both have calling a Nationals top 8s between them. So they're clearly thinking players, you know, they clearly had some reason to play Winter's Whale. But when your decks are really small and you're on very low life with Winter's Whale, if all you're doing, you only have like 4 random blues. Like, if all you're doing every turn is swinging the Winter's Whale, then you're just, you know, you go pitch a blue, crown, rampart, earth react, swing the whale, and then the opponent goes crown, rampart, earth react, and then you swing the whale, and the opponent goes.
It can
crown,
actually loop in.
It's perpetual, yeah. And I'm looking and I'm like, I don't know I go to the judge and I'm like, Judge, I don't know the exact content of the deck. It mostly is just as a, you know, just to let them know that there could be a serious problem, you know. There was like, Judge, I don't know the exact contents of the deck, but I believe that we're real close to the perpetual draw on an 80-minute game. And they're like, no, please. Please, no. Because in an untimed top 8...
Yeah, what happens then?
They were like, I've got to check the rules, but I think they said...
Yeah, because you can't intentionally draw.
Yeah, but what happens?
It's... Okay, so what I believe the answer is...
Play another one?
You play another one. Fuck. Yeah, like, it's like, and what if it happens again? Imagine, you played for 160 minutes, you're almost 3 hours deep into this match, and you draw again.
You hope someone puts Sledge in after that, right?
Yeah. But so I don't think they had Sledge in their list.
No, but I guess if you're playing again, you can't change your deck, can you?
Well, I guess you could represent different. You still side. Well, I don't know. I don't know.
I know Dromai has a perpetual draw. If Dromai mirror
Yeah.
and you only have invokes,
Yeah. It can be tough.
because there's no weapon.
If you've got
Well,
no
there's
ash.
not
If
tough.
you've got no ash, yeah.
No, it's not about that. If my turn 1 is 4 invokes, I Arsenal pass, draw an invoke. Your turn 1, do the same, because you can't pitch into anything, right? Because there's no weapon, there's nothing to pitch into to create ash.
That's good. That's true.
So
Yeah.
if you both draw 5 invokes in a row, there's no.
Oh yeah, I guess you have Mage Master boots as well. But if you just
Who
have
plays that? I think it's usually Phantasmal.
Oh, I
Right?
think a lot of people play Mage Master boots
Yeah?
tome. People have
Okay.
that. People have that in their deck. But like you're right.
That
Yeah,
does-
it could happen.
It's possible. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's hilarious. You just like turn 2, you like show your hand and
So
they show
I
theirs, and you're like,
saw
oh,
this happen. It was Bolton into Dromite.
okay,
Like
yeah,
They both decked each other out. They had 2 cards left. The Dromite had 2 invokes, no
Ash.
ash. And why couldn't the Bolton? They had
What?
the sword that does no
Raiden.
damage and 2 cards that
Yeah, they showed Raiden.
nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's brilliant.
it's hilarious.
And it ended up that one player still had a pummel in his deck.
Okay.
And it turned out that actually he shouldn't have gone for the pummel because he had to like block with one of his earth cards, I think, to just survive to be able to get the pummel off. And then the opponent knew he had the pummel, so overblocked and to play around it. And then he didn't have an earth card, so he couldn't do the loop, and then lost because of it.
Yes.
So it should actually have gone to a perpetual loop, I believe, but because
Someone got greedy.
well, I think to be fair, he was just looking for the win. He was looking to try and find the win, right? And you can't really fault someone for not wanting to.
To draw. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you
keep
think you can
blocking or
find the win, I think you want to try and play for the win, right? I can't fault him for that. But
But that
it's
late,
like
you've seen
it's
the pummel
crazy
get
that like
pitched.
you can play an 80-minute game and it draws and then you play it again. You know, like
That's wild.
yeah, that's wild.
The thing is, the game's so new that these things, when they happen, then rules will be changed.
Yeah, and-
You hope maybe even this podcast, I'll link it to someone at LSS to like think about that as maybe think about how the rules work.
yeah, and it's like
Because a judge should be able to enforce a rule, even if it says in that scenario where there's a perpetual loop, the judge should be able to force a draw.
because it was getting to the point right where like
But wait, what happens? So what happens? It's you're in the top 4.
Yeah.
And 2 people draw. Do the other people automatically go first, second?
no, when you draw, like if you draw in an untimed round, it's not technically a draw. It's a game with no result because the game can't finish. It's not a draw.
Yeah. So neither of those players should be able to win the tournament anymore.
Well, I think
No, they just play again
They just
until
play
you get
again.
a result.
they just restart the game, I believe. But you could argue,
Right,
you
yeah.
could make the argument that because a draw is functionally a loss,
Yeah,
and
that's
neither
what
of
I'm
these
saying.
players was able to
They
win.
both lost.
They
So
both
the
lost.
other
You could
table
argue, and-
gets 1 and 2, so there's one less game to be
Well,
played.
no,
And so
oh-
they play again.
yeah.
No, it should just result in
Yeah.
whoever wins that
Oh,
table
whoever
wins.
wins the- whoever
it's now
wins
the
the-
Yeah.
finals.
I mean, I don't know what the right solution would be, but
That is, to me, that's the solution. Because
But like-
I don't feel like you should ever win off a draw. That would be silly.
like there's some, there is some potential issue there, right? Where
Or
it's like,
it goes by seed. Like if it's 7th played 5th and they drew, 5th plays first. Do you know what I mean? Like because you would already
yeah,
perform
you just
better.
like,
No, because remember, that's how Fab rankings work, is it goes by who
right,
you
well,
won.
so the 2 draws and the loss,
then there
or
is an
whoever was
incentive-
highest seed of those gets the, yeah.
then the
because,
highest
because
seed
that's
will be
how
playing
Fab
for the draw.
actually works.
Yeah.
Like it counts
Yeah.
who it matches you with is, yeah.
But then the higher seed player will play for the draw. If they know that the draw is effectively a win,
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but like it's difficult to play to a perpetual draw. It's pretty difficult to play to that. And only
I
works
want
with
to
Wales.
achieve this now. I just
It
want to
only,
get...
it only works in the older mirror if you play Wales. So like it's really difficult to get to there.
No, like I said, there's other matches that can result in.
Yeah.
Bolton's someone that can draw.
Yeah,
Or
don't see
can-
too many Boltons in Battle Hardened top 4s though these
No.
days. So
Well, you also shouldn't...
are we going to see a breakout Bolton deck at Worlds?
guaranteed to get you laid. That's all I'm saying.
Hey,
guaranteed
Josh
to
Lou's
get you laid.
swimming in it.
Yeah.
He's fighting them off
Lumina
with a
go
bloody.
Boomina.
Yeah, he's fighting them off with a stick.
How good's the legendary for Bolton? You see that card?
Is it like a
Erina's
it's
Prayer?
like a gem thing?
Yeah. No, it's a
No,
not
it's
a gem.
No, it's an aura. It's a item. It's
So
a
all
permanent.
it says is if this was going to go in your soul, instead put it in the field.
Oh, okay.
And then you can play Luminous at instant speed.
It gains you action points.
it just means you don't need to run Snapdragons or you need less cards in your soul. Yeah.
Yeah.
It means
need
that you
less in
don't
your
break
soul.
the Vanguard chain
Okay, so
you
you,
also
can go
don't break
V.
the chain
into Luminous.
Oh, and then that. I
and
mean,
gain 3
I mean, you
action
really are
points.
living the dream if you go V Luminous, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
the
you're doing
point,
like
yeah.
doing a little like.
Oh, each sword swinging for 7. If you-
Wait. Does that mean that does V affect? It says it only says how many cards you charge this turn, right?
yeah. So if you charge 1, the rest of the attacks get
Oh,
plus
but
1.
I'm
If you
thinking
charge-
like when it hits the cards going to your soul, they don't add more Lumina of
No,
V triggers.
it just means your swords will be coming in for an extra
Whatever
1 or
you-
2, depending on how much you pitched into V.
It's big.
I mean, yeah, that is big. That's
But
a
actually,
lot.
like
that's like lethal.
the only problem is that's one card in the deck, but that's like huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, you're going to see most of your deck with Bolton. I don't know
As a
if that gets it there because the problem is not so much like the power of the combo, but like
it's getting there.
getting there consistently.
So,
enough.
Kasai has the same issue. Getting to the combo, you'll win, but it's surviving to get there with still cards.
And I
in
mean,
your hand,
Kasai has more game without the combo than
Yes.
I think combo
Yes.
Bolton.
There's
but
some good raw damage on Kasai.
yeah, you can just play the game.
You see the Prism Invoke.
The Soraya.
Archangel. Yeah.
I was like, what is this? Why are they giving us
It's
prism cards?
overpowered, dude.
No, but like, why are we getting prism cards?
Live in legend format,
Have
baby.
you,
We don't have Prism.
Have you not watched my interview with James White yet?
No. It came out. I was going to watch it
Next
this morning.
Next year. Confirmed. 100%.
What?
Prism and Chain.
No, well, that's not 100% what
Light
he said.
Illusionist, Shadow Runeblade next year.
Next year.
Your
Yeah.
decks will be relevant. That's what he said. He said they actually. So he said this before, but he specifically said part of their company.
It won't be
policy-
Chain again and Prism again. There'll be new heroes.
I think it's Prism and Chain again, like Starvo treatment. Like
Yeah,
a
but
new
different-
version.
yeah,
Oh
new
no, it won't
versions.
be. Yeah, of course. They're gonna listen. Prism needs a bit of a rewrite. Like, and here's my point. They don't want you to have spent money on a deck.
And then never
And
be able to use it.
they literally said that we will rush them now. You will get them next year. Like he said, the minute they allowed, we already put in plan when they're coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Living Legend format's going to exist. That's fine. But they will have a Shadow Runeblade and a Light Illusionist next year.
Okay, that's. I mean, yeah. It
But
just
what you
feels
don't
weird.
want is
It feels weird for cards to drop that are unplayable in CC.
But I think it's they always do this in subsets.
You know,
They
like-
drop stuff that's just not relevant yet.
Yeah, true. Like the brute cards, completely unplayable. You know what I mean?
100%.
Completely
Look,
unplayable.
you spoke about not only are you Pro Tour winner,
Yep.
former England national champion, you're also a coach.
Yeah, I do. I've actually been.
Can you use air quotes when you say that?
Hey, I'm telling you, biggest testimonial here. Okay, Matt did help me prepare somewhat for our nationals and confidence because something you said right at the start. You know, you looked at John in the eye and you said, "If I play Dory, I'm beating you. No matter how good you are at the deck,
Give
I'm
me,
beating you."
give me like a week.
But that's what I mean, like mindset. And one thing you challenged me on is because I'm like, no, I want to play Bolton, I want to play Reiner, and you're just like, right, Timmy, fuck that off. You need to play Briar, and I'm like, I can't do it, Matt. I've never played a Rune Blade. I don't have the brain for it. I've got no reps in. I've only got 2 weeks, and you're like, no, you can fucking do it. You're doing it. This is the better choice. Back yourself. Learn the deck, and I went 3-0 in the first 3 rounds.
You did?
And I legit had, didn't think that was possible. And I beat, all the players I beat were better than me on paper, but I beat them with that confidence. So how important do you think that is, not only to the minutiae, the deck building, the testing, the teams, how important is that attitude of, I'm going to win, I'm going to back myself, instilling that confidence, do you think good players out there lack confidence? It would be better if they had it? Or how,
I think there's like a ton of mental aspects to Flesh and Blood, right? Like there's a ton of aspects of like mindset that are really difficult to work on, and like really like having the best possible mindset like changes completely how you're going to do in events, because it's not just like confidence, right? You also have to be able to deal with a lot of pressure in high stakes situations. You need to be motivated and focused to prepare enough. You need to be able to avoid distractions, and you need to be able to cut away the things that aren't relevant when you know that they're not. You need to have good networking skills. You need to have good players around you who can also help you. You need to be able to bounce back from losses well. You need to like not tilt too much. Like there's so many different aspects to the mental game, and like one thing I think that people don't necessarily focus on enough is actually like thinking about that as a skill that you can improve.
Yes.
Like I saw something last weekend, and I'm gonna throw him under the bus, because like those things are mistakes.
Yes.
Like if you take losses incorrectly, it's a mistake. Like you're giving away your win rate in the long run.
Something you can control.
Yeah, exactly. Like because like one of my like proudest moments in Flesh and Blood, which is really weird to say, is when I lost the finals of the Battle Hardened Leeds. Because like that's a decently sized match, Like you get a PT. Well, we already got the PTI, right? But you get the gold foil and a bit of money, and you get to be the winner.
Too.
Exactly, you get to be the winner. And I lost that game in a game I think I got pretty unlucky in. and like, but like, it's really easy to just say, I got unlucky, whatever, move on. But like, I took that loss and I made sure that as soon as, and I tried to make it a process whenever I lose a high stakes match, because there's a lot of negative feelings can come with losing a match that you care about the result of, because you really want to win and you're trying your hardest and you care, because we all fucking care, you know? Like, that's why we've traveled halfway across the fucking world to play this game, because we care. And like, when you lose a match that you really care about, it's really easy to be frustrated and upset. And like, I lost this match, and instead of being frustrated or annoyed or just, I just sat there. I looked through my opponent's graveyard. I looked through my graveyard. I commit all the turns of the game to memory. Think about all the spots I could have changed my decisions or thought differently or played around something, and try to logically understand the game. And then as soon as I've done that, I just say, good game, man. You played really well. Congratulations. You know, and then just felt really okay with the situation. And it's like taking an L like an absolute boss. I was like, that's something I'm really happy with, because when I can lose well and productively, like even in situations where it's not necessarily like easy to lose,
Yes.
like that's really good.
Like the finals of anything.
You know?
Yeah.
And like, so this weekend I was in Denver.
How was that? How was the event?
It was a good time in Denver. It was a good time. The Flesh and Blood wasn't great for me. I drew myself out of the Battle Hardened, which was really frustrating. Kind of my fault. It's a game where I should win, and I played at a reasonable pace, but like I should have just been slamming cards, you know, just really rushing through to make sure we can finish the game as quickly as possible. But I made the top 8 of the PTI event on the Sunday. I got knocked out by Isaac Kroot. It was rough.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, we had like player 2 and 3 in the world on ELO.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people use that as a warm up for Worlds.
Yeah. We had there's a lot of good players there. And but like, so I lose my quarterfinal, and I'm pretty okay with it. I'm like, good luck in the top 4, Isaac. You know, but I can hear this person just going off behind me, just complaining. Oh man, you got so lucky. You just drawing it off the top, man. God, I wish I could be as lucky as you. You know. And I'm just like,
sounds familiar.
And I'm like, what the hell is this guy?
Flunder's favorite.
Who is this guy? I turn around, it's Philip McKay. I'm like, bro, what the hell? Like, just say congratulations. You know, don't take the glory away from your opponent.
That's how Phil is in our armories. We're used to
I
it.
know.
I mean, you beat him in Blitz, he'll say that. It's fine.
I know, it's crazy. I'm like, but like, I genuinely believe that you're making a mistake by doing that.
Yeah.
Because what you do is like, you're giving away your own agency over the game. You know, like when you think like that, you give away your ability to actually think about controlling your own destiny, and like just because you just blame luck, you just blame bullshit. You know, if you actually just accept it and own it and say, I just took the loss. You know, and like,
by the way, it doesn't have to feel good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like also I feel like once you accept it, I mean, when you take bad losses and it is your fault, it hurts. You know?
Out of 10, how
tilted was he?
How tilted was he?
Oh, he was going off. I honestly almost had to turn around and like,
was this on stream?
Yeah,
because I watched the stream.
Oh, right. So that was on
it's
camera,
recorded. It's eternal now.
It's
he
out
was
there.
salty. Yeah.
Oh shit! I'm watching that tonight.
Oh yeah, so I'm sat behind him. I lost my
Iceland into fire.
I lost my game.
By the way,
was
the
like,
fire just demolished.
Oh yeah, he did get. You know, he
Very
drew,
lucky. Yes,
it was not a close game, but like, so I'm sat there watching. I was watching the League of Legends World Semi-Finals. I'm like, bro, you just keep it down a bit. Just like, you're like trying to watch the game here, bro. Like, because it was me and my friends are big Gen G fanboys.
Okay.
How'd
they go?
They lost the semi-finals. Like, I just got knocked out of the Battle Hardened, and I was like, that's okay. I'll watch my team win, you know. And they lose, and I'm like, I just can't take it anymore.
And then you've got Phil,
and then I'm like, you know what? Now I'm tilted as well, Phil. And it's like, yeah, I think like there's so many aspects that like you actually do need to do work on how you approach the game mentally.
Yeah.
And like I certainly have massive leaks in that regard. Like my technical play is my biggest weakness, I think.
Yeah.
Like I regularly miss things like my own triggers, my opponent's triggers, like stuff that like and I'm sure you know anyone who knows anything about me knows that like I've got in trouble in the past for sloppy technical play, right? Like that comes to my detriment regularly, you know, where like I'll miss a trigger, I'll I'll be so like thinking so deep into like what play I'm gonna make, I just forget to do the stupid easy shit.
Yeah.
And then like
a tunic.
Yeah, just a tunic or like even there's just a small thing, you know, and like
yeah. I think, funnily enough, I'm good friends with Phil.
Yeah.
One thing he maybe doesn't vocalize well enough. He's pretty much committed to not play after Worlds.
Oh really?
Because he's an incredibly good deck brewer.
Mm-hmm.
very good coach. Like he definitely has a very good grasp on getting other people with better temperaments wins.
Yeah.
I'm serious. But he's open about that. He's even said it on the podcast. Like he sees himself more as a coach than a player. Playing doesn't suit him. He's played since he was a kid, and he doesn't feel like. But I think that's part of it is his personality. Whatever it is, whether he's maths driven or whatever, when he sees like super like if in his head, because I know it happens in poker. That it's like a 5.6% chance they draw the fourth jack, and then they draw it. It's very hard to accept that. But the point that it was 5.6% means there was a chance.
Yeah.
And 5 times out of 100 is going to fucking hit you in the face.
Yeah.
But he does definitely struggle with that. He definitely can't. He hates losing to the maths, like to the variance, to off the top. But I think he, like what I'm saying is, and he'll hear this anyway, so I'm saying it to him. If you can find a way around that, you will just perform better. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can acknowledge that you have a problem with it, but acknowledging it and doing something about it will get you further than acknowledging it and not playing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not playing out of salt. He just wants to focus on being a coach. Like, he wants a team and he wants to be the coach and the deck brewer. And, like, he feels like he can make the best deck in the world, but he's not the best player, which is fair to him. If he can do that, if he can focus on that, talking about teams, he would make a great teammate if he's not competing with anyone, because his pure focus is, how do I get Paul to win this event? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's great.
And
That's a good place to be.
I want to make it clear, because I guess like you said, he'll listen. I don't mean to flame you, like, because I realize my appearance on this podcast is just going to be like an hour long. People man, that Matt guy was just flaming everyone.
He'll be on
Phil's
the podcast
a cool guy.
in like
I like
a week.
Phil.
He'll flame you right back.
Phil.
It's fine. He's a great guy. Good, very good guy.
Yeah.
Like, same thing. He's extremely generous with his time and info. Like, if he thinks he's got the best deck, he'll still talk to you about it. He'll still, you know what I mean? Like, he helps us all. Like,
and I actually I said earlier that I'm still looking for some snatches. That's
what color?
Red ones this time.
Okay.
Yeah, the normal ones.
I mean, they'll be easy to get at a vendor.
Probably, yeah.
I can hunt for you. That's
I'll be all right. But like, I'm down the line of looking at snatches because Phil was playing them this weekend. You know,
in
his Icelander deck, exactly.
Oh, there you go.
And he said he was really enjoying them, and I played them a little bit before, and they were all right. But then I just move on to other things, and Phil was like, "Oh, the snatches were powerhouses for me this weekend. Like, really good into Fire, really good into Oldham." And I'm like, I'm gonna have to put a bit more time into that one.
I'll give you an example. The Dory deck I played, I went to Singapore first, did pretty shit. It had Unified Decree and Sharp Eye. Right? I didn't like Unified Decree. Cut it for Pro Tour and then went 6-2 in CC, only losing to Oldham's, which is fucking crazy at that level, right?
I'm going to expose myself here. I don't know what Unified Decree does.
Unified Decree, it's the crew attack reaction that no one really plays, but it's pay 2, give the weapon +3, and then it says banish the top card of your deck. If it's a attack reaction, you can play it this chain.
Oh,
right?
okay, yep.
So you pretty much want to know what's at the top before you play it, which I don't really play well that way. Like, because you play Eye in the deck and stuff. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Just got to check a few cheeky foils in there, then you know. Get some of those cold foils you got.
My point is, he built that deck.
Yep.
And it went very well.
Yeah.
Now, the reason I wasn't playing Worlds, I said this when you came in, I didn't earn it. I was 9-5 at Pro Tour. Other 9-5s got a PTI. I didn't because
that's a shame.
I was lower on the bracket, right? And I felt like Dory can't win it, so I didn't. And I'm not that good at drafts. I thought, no. I was testing Dromai out, thinking if I can get the older matchup down pat, I will play Worlds. I didn't like playing Dromai that way with the fatigue engine. I didn't like it. Phil sent me a list a few days ago. He goes, man, I built this Dory list. It actually shits on Oldham. No one knows how to play against it. Try it. I'm go, this can't work. He goes, try it. Jumped on Talishar 3 games in a row versus Oldham's, beat them all.
Yeah, I saw you were looking for Oldham's, right?
Yeah.
And they kept leaving.
People keep but they jump in, Viscera. I'm like, dude, did you read the title of the game? Yes. Restart, go again. Same Viscera guy. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, oh, I thought you didn't care. I'm like,
just
buddy.
one Levia player, just absolutely griefing you.
It's like 6 times in a row, man.
So you think this is the source, this deck?
Well, because this doesn't land till
Do you wish you were playing Worlds?
No.
Okay.
But listen, man, I'm happy to fucking win a calling. It's
Oh,
fine.
for
I'm
sure.
gonna play the calling.
Are you going to play this deck?
Do you know what's in the deck? Finals, Fighting Spirit Red.
Yeah. Going full Michael Hamilton on that.
Yeah, wounded bull, whatever it's called.
Is that the new tech? You just put you take a bad deck and you just put those 2 cards in it, and then you've got a great deck.
No, but into Oldham, I can still swing my weapon.
Yep.
I can still do all that, but I can also block Arsenal and just wounded bull for 8.
It's pretty good.
And it works because suddenly the Oldham's in a position where they have to block with 2 cards, which they never have to do with the sword swing, because the sword swing is like Crown, Rampart. They don't give a fuck about the sword.
And all your cards can't be used efficiently, right, at that point?
But that's the thing.
Yeah.
The raw output of my deck, I've said this many times, Dory has the worst raw output in their cards.
Yeah.
I need counters to make my deck overrate.
Yeah.
But you can't get counters against Oldham. But suddenly if I have one card that does 8, and I have 6 of them or whatever, like the 7s and... You know what I mean?
Yeah, over the course of a
Plus
game,
the
you can
Finder's
build
Fighting
some-
Spirit heals me because I'm usually lower life.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I see enough attack defense reaction done by Oldham, then you go in for more sword swings and double.
Okay,
like, it works.
It allows you to like build towards the end game that you're trying to set up.
I need him within killing range, so he has to
Yeah.
throw cards at me. You just never get there.
Yeah.
And you spend 4 cards to try and get a counter, and he just unmovables or staunches. And
That's
you
tight.
just-
I mean, that's kind of the same vibe that you run the Wounded Bulls and stuff in Icelander,
Yes.
because like, well, even if they're blocking out those attacks and just like blocking everything,
You're-
like, the fact
you're
that you're
winning
getting
the
4 for
trade.
8, 2 cards for 8 damage, like you're winning tempo, you're winning value
Yeah.
over those turn
and I
cycles.
was beating the Oldhams with like 10 life to spare.
Nice.
Now, am I going to win every Oldham match? No, but at least I can. That's the
Gives you an
problem
angle,
with
yeah.
Dory. It
Gives you an
felt
angle.
like I couldn't, at least. And also, the big trick was ProTour. I didn't sideboard once.
In any matchup,
Didn't sideboard.
that's crazy.
Not even Null Rune. I'm like, bring it. Now, I would have sideboarded it to Icelanders and Kanos. Just didn't
Yeah.
hit any. All the aggro matches, no sideboard.
You submit 60 cards and no equipment.
No, I had like Oasis Respite and stuff. I just didn't
okay.
use them.
That's fair. That's fair.
And
Does
it's
that mean you
Oldham.
just misbuilt your deck, or you just had the perfect deck?
I was feasting on aggro.
Okay, yeah.
I was Viserai, Briar, Fi, Dash. They were they're not easy, but again, people don't know how to play those into. They would sideboard wrong into it. When a Fi puts in D reacts, their deck is shit.
a little bit.
That's how it felt. Like they couldn't do. And anyway, it's that kind of thinking where it's not. I've never seen a Dory play. So now I have a shit ton more poppers into Dromite, which is a very hard matchup.
Yeah,
for me.
you think? Yeah.
Well, when they play it correctly, yes.
Okay.
You just, by the way, if you want to beat Dory as Dromite, summon no dragons for the first cycle. That's the trick. All you do is block, D-react, put your dragons to the bottom, make
Build some
Ash,
yeah.
and then in one turn, you're going to bring out 2 Chromos, 2 Asvalize, and just fucking kill me because I can't deal with 4. Like, I can deal with 2.
You can't deal with 4.
Never give me Ashwings. Don't make the mistake of giving a Dory Ashwings. It's stupid. Just don't give me anything to feast on.
Yeah, because you farm Dawnblade counters off dragons, right?
Yes.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I guess if
so
you
it's fine if you give me 4 targets, I'm fucked.
if you keep playing dragons throughout the first cycle, then you're
My
just going to
Dawnblade's
get
a
up
10.
to you're like up.
But
oh,
if you
I'm
give
on,
me none,
Yeah.
and all you're doing is literally, if you see a Centipie or a Ember Maw, swing with it and pass. That's it.
little sweeping
Yeah,
blow.
yeah.
Little,
But mainly you're having D-reacts to
Yeah.
just stop my also D-reacts are Dory's bane of existence. Like I spend 3-4 cards to get my Dawnblade, try and go over your
Yeah.
attack. If you just staunch it, it's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
No, very good.
Should I be playing Wounding Bull in Briar?
No, see, but Briar doesn't
Good
have.
question. I don't think so. I don't think
What we're
so.
saying is, see, Briar already the card values.
You have the attacks. Yeah.
Yes. Well, Dory, it's 1 for 3. Everything's 3. My attack reaction's 3. 3 is a shit number in Fab. They're very easy to play around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah. I don't think Wounded Bull is the new tech.
No.
But
No, but my deck needs that higher rate.
Yeah, I can
to
I can see
even
it.
have a chance.
In the same way as Icelander, it makes a lot of sense. It's really smart. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really smart.
He's very good. He's very good. And it might be better to have someone like that in the community that's purely focused on this. Like, you know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
can hyper focus on just tech and brewing and getting very good players in, and it's your name on the team, it's not a bad place to be.
Yeah, and like I said, so the original point was like there's so many different aspects of like mental game that like you do need to work on, and that like I think I'm like decent at a lot of those things. Like when I look back at the Pro Tour, like one thing that I'm really really happy with is because I think I played really really well on the top 8. I think, like I made one really costly mistake with losing my channel mount heroic. Just forget my channel, like do all the work, get the third, the triple earth card in my pitch to get my channel around a third time, then just forget the trigger and throw it in the bin, right? Just classic like technical mistakes that cost me massively, right? But my situation in that game was so fine that it didn't really matter. But like,
Yep.
but like, apart from that, like I think I played the top 8 really cleanly. Like one aspect was like I think I did a great job of just like zoning out all of the stuff around the game, you know?
Yeah.
Because like if you actually logically think about what you're doing in that moment, like you're like, oh, actually, no, wait, there's like 20 grand on the line. I'm playing in front of like 1,000 people online who are like desperate for me to make some stupid mistake so they can hate me. There's like 100 people watching. Like my mum's watching at home. Like, you could mess up at any moment. It's like, it's really quite stressful, right? But like, I think I just like, and I was really grateful that they had noise cancelling headphones.
Smart.
Because like, as long as you just looked at your opponent and just thought exclusively about the game, it was like we were in our own little bubble. Yeah. Like it was easier to focus than like even just a normal game when you're playing out.
Yeah, because you can hear.
Yeah, because
you can hear Phil raging.
Yeah, you got Phil raging. You got Shamir, my opponent in the semi-finals. He's a classic in the UK. No matter where you are, you can hear him talking to his opponent. Just no matter what table you're on, he's just there, just going off, and you're like, I am, despite being quite a talkative and loud person outside of the game, like I'm a very quiet person when I play.
Yep.
I'm like sometimes like I just need silence to just think, you know. Like it actually to the point where like I've literally just put my hands over my ears before, like when I'm just thinking about play, because like someone's talking, I just can't think. So
are you allowed to wear headphones when you play Fab?
No. Nah, because you could have like.
Yeah, of course.
I could have Matt Foulkes in my ear going, kill him, fucking Timmy, go for it. Just motivational loop.
Yeah, the judges,
by Matt Foulkes.
The judges are like, we think he was cheating. We think he was getting outside assistance. And it's just put on his ear. And it's like, let's go, team.
It's on a loop.
It's fun.
Any last thoughts, Tall Timmy?
Well, I think it's going to be a cracking weekend.
Oh, I can't wait.
I think we're going to be forcing fire like you
wouldn't
believe.
Like absolute demons.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the other heroes are called. Buys, I think.
Yeah.
Matt, do you have other than yourself, who do you see top 8ing?
I think there's like a pretty clear first pick. At least for me, like I think Michael Hamilton is.
He's on many people's list.
Yeah, I mean,
he's on a tear.
I think like
he hasn't missed an event yet, like top 8ing it, has he?
Yeah, he's my pick for the best player in the world. And like that's because I have like a lot of like pretty close exposure to how good he is at the game.
Yeah.
Like there's a little story from before the team calling, the team blitz calling.
Yes.
So my teammate Alex was he was assigned to Oldham. He really didn't want to play Oldham, and we were like, bro, you don't have to play Oldham. But he was like, oh no, I'm going to play Oldham. It's the best deck. I don't want to let the team down. And kind of just forced himself to play Fatigue Oldham, which was miserable for him. But he plays, I got Michael Hamilton because I played with him a lot before. I was like, oh, any chance you could play some Oldham mirrors with my teammate? He's like, oh yeah, sure. Hops in. And he's like, oh, just so you know, Michael's like, oh, I haven't really played this matchup very much. And then like, obviously because Michael's one of the best players in the world, and especially when it comes to Oldham, you know, would be most anyone's pick for probably the best Oldham in the world. He just absolutely destroys my teammate. Then in like a course of 5 minutes goes, oh, cool, I think I understand everything involved in the matchup. You just got to sledge every turn, play the D-reacts to just farm as much as you can, earth react when you can, and track your opponents and your own pulse. And that's pretty much everything you need to know. I was like, cool, I think I understand it. And I'm just like, wow, that was really quite something. And then so my teammates
broke it then and there, yeah.
And then he just appropriately summed up in one game in a couple of minutes exactly everything you need to know about the Oldham mirror in Blitz. And it's different now because like these are more aggressive Oldham decks. They're not just D-reacts. But like my teammate gets smashed, right, and he's just he's crushed. He's like, I just got smashed. He said he barely even knew the match. He just destroyed me. And I'm like, what you need to understand about Michael, right? When he says he doesn't know the matchup, he probably means he's the best Oldham player in the world. You know, it's like he couldn't be more specifically wrong. Like he couldn't have been more like inaccurately humble in this situation, you know. But like I have a lot of exposure to Michael.
Yeah, but to his level, he probably is thinking, I haven't spent enough time doing this.
Oh, there's still a lot to learn.
But it's more than most people have spent doing.
Yeah. So like I really rate Michael, and I
think everyone does. I think I
think he's appropriately rated.
It's not going to be a surprise if Michael Hamilton's in the top 8. You'd be like, yeah, of course he is. Like it won't be a surprise. What I'm hoping for is some surprises. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. I hope.
Especially adding the Blitz thing it's a dark horse thing.
I love Blitz.
Yeah,
I'm a big Blitz fan.
That will bring different players in.
I think so. I think
it can.
I would love to see. I'm a big Blitz fan, honestly. Honestly, I saw so many people complaining about Blitz at Worlds. They're like, it's not a competitive format. It's going to ruin the tournament. Like, just shut up, bro. Play some Blitz. It's fun. You know, just get slamming. Get slamming. Like,
Nick Butcher loves Blitz, and I'm backing him for top 8.
Oh,
Australia's best player. He's on another level.
And he's coming off confidence. I think that's something Nick...
new Australian
he
national
went into
champion.
Australian Nationals #1.
Yep.
I think he was the top seed in CC.
Yep.
And got shafted in TOA draft. Like, the people near him basically cut him off.
Yep.
Whatever could happen in that, where you just end up with a non-starter
it's
deck.
draft. Sometimes you have a bad deck.
Yeah, and he bubbled at 10th. But he was, like, undefeated in CC. Remember that was, like, 8 rounds of CC or 7 or
He's
whatever?
playing Oldham, was he?
At that...
No,
It was
not back then.
It was the Viscera. No,
he
it was
might
the,
have been on
Hayden
Oldham,
won it
yeah.
on Viscera. It was like the Briar format. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what Butcher was on. Probably Oldham. Yeah.
Okay.
Either way, his confidence took a big hit.
Yeah.
Because he was definitely on track to win. It's the draft that he couldn't get.
And then
he won the last one.
Yeah,
The last-
because he sort of
coming up. He's our Aussie champion now.
Yeah, he was like because he had I think he had some like decent result at PT1. I think he fell just short of the top 8, right? Like a top 16 or top 32 at
And
PT1.
you know, his team all a national.
Yeah, and
champions.
they're all banger. Yeah, I mean that was the most ridiculous thing, right? Just like
3 out of 3.
yeah, Tarek, Martin, Nick, just all winning their
I
nationals.
think
Just
they
crazy.
have a 4th member now. Don't
They have
Yeah.
Isaac Cruz.
Yeah.
And he won the PTI this weekend. It was crazy actually. It was a Canadian takeover.
But like again, Nick.
But he's on board with it. He loves Blitz.
Who?
Nick Butcher.
Oh, okay. I like it
Loves
too. I like
it's
it.
still a format to break. Like if
Yeah.
you're a competitive
It's
player,
a different a little puzzle.
yes,
And
and,
people
and,
like-
it, and it is a simpler puzzle.
I
It's-
said,
there's no
give us
sideboard.
20 games of Blitz. Just because like you need more,
Yeah,
you
that's
need more rounds of Blitz because
Yes,
the games
yes.
are quick and also there is a bit more variance.
I
So
agree.
like 20 rounds of Blitz
You'll
Worlds,
know who the best
I'd be
is.
in.
Yeah,
I'd be in. You know,
Dude, the team calling was the best event I've ever
it was
seen.
so fun.
Because the variance is reduced because you're in a
Yeah.
team. It's so good.
So many fun
My
stories
team
from
was,
Team Blitz.
Dash, Dory, and Oldham. Dash, Dory, and Reiner. And we came 16th? I think we came.
Nice,
12th or
nice.
16th.
I have a classic story from our team calling. We sit down, right, and the people are speaking German across from us, and the guy in the middle says a sentence that ends in something that sounds like "chain free win," and we turn to our teammate who's Austrian, our third teammate, and he goes, "Did he just say that
Big
chain's
shout
a
out to
free
Alex.
win?" And he goes, "Yeah, that's pretty much what he said, yeah." And we're like, brilliant. And then obviously loses, you know? It's just like, it's stuff like
That
that.
happened twice to me because it was Prism. I was Dory in the middle.
Yeah.
My first 2 matches were Prisms.
And they were like, oh,
And
it's
one
free.
of them said sorry. Just demolished
I had
them.
that happen earlier today in testing. Like,
Yeah.
I was playing Icelander into Oldham, and my housemate goes, someone's like, oh, how are those games going? And then someone watching goes, oh, Matt's getting absolutely smashed. And then someone's like, oh, how did those games finish up? And I go, oh, I 2-0'd. Yep. Oh, yeah. I was down like 30 life. I was like, oh, yeah, it's
just before
easy 2-0.
Prism LL, that was my claim to fame. Was not the ProTour event is nothing compared to the amount of Prisms I sit in front of at ProQuest and smash them.
Yep.
Because they think it's a free win, but then they misplay once. And my Dawnblade gets big, and then it's like, oh, you know those numbers you thought you had a handle on?
those-
My Dawnblade's a 7, buddy. Like, what are you going to do now?
Yeah, 4's a hell of a little more
Like, you know
than
how
3.
your Herald is 7? My weapon is 7. I can swing it twice, and I don't run out of them. Yeah, very, there's no zero chance matchups. People
Yeah, I
forget
agree.
that. And if you're good at your deck, you have a chance.
I think there was one.
What's that?
I think like so I won in ProQuest season 1. I found the smallest ProQuest in the UK.
Smart.
Like everyone, like there was a ProQuest in sort of the middle of the country, and then there was another one about an hour away. That basically everyone that wanted to do a double sort of hit those two. I drove like 2.5 hours to the first one, and then instead of going like the hour to the next one, I drove another 4 hours in the wrong direction. All the way now 6 hours from my house to the easternmost point in the country.
Yeah.
I don't know how they got us a ProQuest. Lovely store it was at, but like they didn't have a big community there, right? But like it was literally the most eastern place. I assume the LSS guys were just like dropping pins on a map, and they were like, there's a store over there. We need one in the east. And it was 13 players, and I'm 3-0, and in the last round of the 4 rounds of Swiss before cut to top 4, I played an Oldham, and I'm like, I'll concede. He's like, really? I'm like, yeah, I'll see you in the top 4, buddy. Good luck. And so I'm playing Prism, and in the top 4, I play Prism, and I win with like 38 life. And in the final, against Oldham, I play Prism against Oldham. win with 38 life. And then in the finals, again, I play against Oldham. And I won with like 32 life.
Yeah, so,
That same guy that
I beat him in the top four, and then a different guy in the final.
Okay.
And it's like those matchups.
Or a Prism into Oldham did not feel like,
And they didn't have. They were like no go again Oldhams. No tech. You just.
But that's what I was gonna say. I do believe if you built an Oldham deck to beat Prism,
You could find wins.
Yeah, but then you may not be beating everything you're supposed to be. Yeah. No, but what I mean by zero is there's some very listen. Oldham into Dory. Dory feels like it can't win. I have one, but I get very lucky, and they brick is how I win.
And you've got to find your angle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is hopefully Phil might have found.
I don't think there's any anymore. There's no like 0%ers anymore.
No.
Certainly not.
That's when a healthy meta feels, because
Yeah.
you could bring Ryan out of Worlds and you shouldn't like 0x. You know what I mean? Like
You could.
you could.
Someone has to.
Yeah, but you sit in front
Not
of an
me,
Oldham
baby.
as
Not,
Rhino.
not
They're the
bring in Rhino or not OX.
No, they are the cash rounds. Okay, they're not okay. Whoever's going to get in the top 8, so be it. Those 5 rounds of
Are the
blitz to
cash
me
rounds,
are
yeah.
the cash rounds.
Oh,
so
nice.
they're the rounds that the Timmy could possibly sneak into top 64 and
so
cash.
I've given him one of the 6.9 year Rudy dice
Huge.
to roll his scabbies with.
Oh no.
I barely roll them.
I want to hear you yell scabbies. I want to hear it.
I only roll scabbies. Like in 5 rounds, I'll probably roll it twice.
Okay.
I beat him in a skirmish where he was clearly going to win and he rolled a 1.
Oh no.
And I just won.
Yeah,
Nice.
I'm so
Greedy.
I don't get tilted, but I'm greedy Timmy.
Okay.
So I have to play a Rhino
Because he was
deck.
already winning.
Yeah. So I've got no
Like, why
RNG
roll
in
him?
this
You
Rhino
win.
deck.
Okay.
If I get tempted with RNG, I'm doing it every day of the week.
You gotta have fun, right?
And then when I miss, it
You
crushes
go off
me.
That's your weakness.
It crushes
my
me.
my tilt weakness, and I definitely have them, is draws.
Yeah.
Honestly, I got a draw the other day. I honestly, I probably was a bit less than the most polite. No, like I wasn't terrible, right? I didn't go off, but like, I was just. I probably was less than like the most gracious I could be. I was because I don't know, draws in this game. That's my weakness, right? That's the one thing
Gave
that
the
like
2 fingers.
Nah. There was nothing. It's nothing like that, you know.
Look, is there
I just when I'm a strong believer that when you win or lose, you just shake your opponent's hand, say good game, and move on from the
I
game.
definitely don't take it away from them yet.
Yeah, I mean, no one was taking anything away from each other in this game. We just, I just felt like I'd, like, quote unquote, been injustice, and because like I was going to probably win the game, and I, but whatever. There was my, it's a draw. That's how the game ended.
Can I
Accept it and move on.
I have this theory where sometimes this stuff like take backs and shit.
Yep.
I have a theory that if you just have that conversation immediately while you're presenting decks, you go, listen, no takebacks. Like, don't ask me if I miss a tunic. I missed. You know what I mean? Like, especially with friends, I find is the issue because there's like social pressure. You sit in front of, and I feel like draws are the same. If you sit in front of an Oldham, there's some logic I think with high stakes. Go, look, I'm going to play fast. I don't want to have a draw, which I'm sure you don't either. But I'm telling you now, I'm going to call the judge immediately, round 1, if I think you're tanking 2. Like, because I think you're putting pressure on fairly, rather, you know what I mean? Like, does it feel shitty to call a judge 20, 30 minutes in? Because you don't, like, it's pressure. But I feel like if you warn someone, like if I was on Oldham and someone sat down and went, look, if you play so I'm calling the judge, I do not want to draw.
Yep.
I would play quicker. I'd be like, you know what? Like, we both just agreed to play quick before there's anything.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, the draw thing it's mostly like it's like one of those ones where like I felt frustrated, but like if I'd been actively faster, we would have got the game done, and it would have been fine. Like I needed to be quicker and more fluid and more practice with my game actions. And that's like ultimately like what you just need to take away from basically every game you ever play is that there was things you could have done better, win or lose. You could always have played cleaner, played quicker, played. You could have considered more things that you didn't actually think about, and there was like, even if it wouldn't have changed how you played, there was more information you could have thought about in your decisions that would have made you made higher. Even if you wouldn't have changed the decisions you made all the perfect plays. There was ways you could have thought better.
Sure.
So like
More efficiently.
Yeah.
As well.
Well, I've got one last final word. One more. Mrs. Foulkes, I'm taking care of your son. Big shout out. Don't worry.
She's a big fan of yours too, Timmy.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Mrs. Foulkes. G'day from the tall Timmy. I'll be looking after Matthew here in San Jose. Don't you worry.
He's in good hands. Don't you worry.
All right. Thank you very much for having me on, guys. An absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
My pleasure.
It's been awesome. Good luck. I hope we're on the same draft table. We'll have a lot of fun.
I don't.
All right, guys. See you in the next one.
Woo!